I wanted to talk with you guys about methyl mercury and mercury fillings. What is this all about? I keep mentioning it in different songs. Bring it up. Words, spoken words. Well, it's cause, right? What is this all about? You eat sweets. Anybody have a sweet tooth? No, we all into sweet tooth because of the pandemic. We all know about the sweet tooth. We have any kind of sweet tooth, which I never did as a child. I liked vegetables. I liked seafood, shellfish. They had minerals, proteins. Jesus is like the fish. Jesus, the beautiful little fish shape. I like things that give me energy and strength. Well, when I was a kid, I ate a lot of shellfish because I live near the ocean. And sometimes shellfish gets contaminated with mercury poisoning from the ocean. And you know about the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland? The Mad Hatter is like this crazy cat who makes these beautiful hats. But in the time of the Mad Hatter, which is like a couple centuries ago, they would use glue. Maybe it's not even a couple centuries ago. I don't know my exact history about the Mad Hatter and where its origin is. It might be 1940. They used glue that was made with mercury, and so that's where the story of the Mad Hatter came. See, I'm intelligent. I'm very intelligent. I was almost a straight A student all throughout elementary school, 7th grade, 8th grade, A's, B's, My dad married this really cute old former cheerleader who was his secretary and a film editor when we went to art school, and the hair and the nails and everything. And she made really good chocolate chip cookies. They were the recipe exactly on the Nestle's Toll House cookie bag. As I'm looking at it, I can see the little skulls and crossbones in the chocolate chips. There's nothing wrong with chocolate. Chocolate is actually one of the sacraments of the divine. It has protein and iron, and it's very cleansing and purifying. There's a little caffeine, so you don't want to overdo it. But it's not the chocolate that is lethal. But in the cookies in the Nestle Toll House recipe, there's so much brown sugar. And brown sugar, what brown sugar does is it looks like health food because it's brown, right? You think like whole wheat is health food. And so brown sugar, is that like the brown sugar? But it's not. It's not like coconut sugar. It dissolves. Brown sugar, what it does is it like embeds and it sticks in your teeth. So I was eating one of these really chewy Nestle's Toll House cookies. And my tooth started to hurt a little bit. I could have been given a calcium supplement. Which is the first thing you should do if you ever have a toothache. Don't go straight to the dentist. You know why? That's why it's called a dentist, because it's the last place you want to go. So what you want to do is take a calcium supplement and lay off the sugar. So I had these cookies, and she would make so many cookies. My stepmother would make so many cookies at Christmas that she would mail out like 13, somewhere between 13 and 26 boxes of like 8 batches of different kinds of cookies every Christmas. So they weren't the painted ones with all the beautiful designs and things that sort of artistic and get the children involved. It wasn't like that. It was like, these are the recipes that everybody likes. It was like really rich, chocolatey, white, sugary, gooey, and the brown sugar would stick in the tooth. So I remember her dragging me to the dentist because I had a little toothache. And Dr. Fink, he may have asked her, does she take gold, silver, or porcelain? A porcelain would have been fine because the porcelain composite filling will not hurt you. It might not last as long if you chew a lot of solid food. But a gold filling was probably a little bit more expensive, not that that was a problem. But she wore these gold bangle bracelets, just like Srimati Radharani. And my papa, he bought me these beautiful silver bangle bracelets. And I like the silver because I'm part Cherokee. We're part Cherokee, French Cherokee. And then on my mom's side, a little bit of Apache, I'm told. I like the silver because it's a Native American metal, and it's very receptive, and it's not this flashy gold gaudy thing. What they don't tell you is that 50% of that filling is a highly potent neurotoxin, methyl mercury. And so they amalgamate silver and mercury And if you have any mercury in your system from shellfish, I mean, if you're like the Mad Hatter and you're like, I'll eat fish, because Jesus says eat fish, it's good for us. And then you get a little bit giddy. You might be like a sort of a giddy personality. You might be outgoing and kind of social. You might be like more like affectionate. Life is so cool. But as it goes on, it gets more and more vigorous. In fact, every time you chew, it emits vapor into your brain. Now, think about this. What happens when you swallow? Like, say you take a drink of a juice, take a big drink. Did you move your jaw? Yeah. Okay. Is talking moving your jaw? Yeah. Is singing devotion, which I did when I was in my peak years, because the mercury amalgam dental filling takes 20 to 25 years to stop emitting a toxic vapor every time you open and close your jaw. And I was no loudmouth and had a nice singing voice. And I was an unbled virgin. And you know what? The first thing that I did when I got mercury in my head, I called up this boy who had a crush on me since the third grade and said, I want to have sex. Because what happens is when you combine methylmercury dental filling with the teeniest, tiniest, harmless little, not too holy dose of mercury from seafood that Jesus allows us, is you get a composite poisoning, which is potentially fatal. Not just to the person with the filling, not just to me, my head filling up with vapor, getting in my lungs, getting in my whole system, making me first feel like I'm so toxic. I'm toxic. What's going on? First, I start having sex, smoking cigarettes, then sneaking liquor, then shoplifting panties. Do you know that? I stole panties. You put them on underneath your clothes and then walk out of the store and no one would notice until you end up in juvie for an hour. And then, parents come and the cops ask, why did you do it? Did you want the stuff or did you want the attention? And my friend, she's sitting there, she goes, I wanted the stuff. Well, I didn't. I said, I wanted the attention. My dad just died. I wanted the attention. I wanted my fucking panties back. Pardon my language. Yeah. The dentist stole my panties. And then for 20 years, I didn't know what had hit me. And I started getting dumber and dumber. I mean, I was a really good student. I just started getting more into music. Well, that's fine because, not being like super intelligent or overly intellectual makes a person more in touch with their feminine receptive side, which is, I guess, what silver does. But maybe I should have gone for the gold. I thought we should honor our own heritage. The point of me telling you all this is not so that I can like sit up here on my soapbox and say, clean it up, people. Let's no longer move our jaws. Let's stop chewing. Because there are children out there with mercury in their heads, and if we chew, then they'll think that they should chew. That's a very powerful revolutionary movement. But if you think about it, then they also won't talk and they can't sing in church. And you know what? At this point, I'm going to fucking raise my voice because the Dental Association is acting like Adolf Hitler. And their only ally is the cattle industry. Because if you talk to anyone who didn't eat the fish that Jesus offered us, instead they ate the blood that it said not to eat in the Holy Scripture, they ate the red meat. Then the red meat sits in there, which doesn't digest, and it sits in there and makes parasites. So then they have this huge following. If you have a lot of parasites, then you have a huge following. If you don't have any parasites, then you can have God. You can just be alone with God and have peace. But these cattle industry people must be working, if not subconsciously, actually like a mafia or a mob to get together with the Mercury Amalgam American Dental Association. It's not just in America. They also fight this in Britain. They fight this all around the world. The Minamata Treaty, the Minamata Convention is a program by the United Nations to stop mercury poisoning. If you had any idea about the potency of mercury, you would be like, make it legal today. Because if it was a legal drug, then they wouldn't stop putting it into children's heads and turning virgins into prostitutes. Think about it. Because that's money in the real money, the virgin mun. That's called the mun, that part of the body. that gets excavated as soon as they put an aphrodisiac in your head. It goes directly into the dentist's pocket. You sign up for the, okay, sure. You ate the cookie, I get $20,000 fine. He'll put $20,000 in his bank account, or maybe it's, I don't know, we all have insurance now. It was tax the rich and give charity to the poor or something. But now, if it's not stopped, then what we have is to accept that the fiber of our society has no dignity. Nobody marries before they go to bed, do they? Baptists do. Vaishnavas do. In fact, some Krishnas and even Baptists still believe in the Immaculate Conception, which is what I found myself experiencing after, let's see, this was in about 2000, so this would be 88, 12 years. 12 years into the dose, I found that in renunciation and initiations and having become a nunk of the Vaishnava priesthood, that I was having immaculate conceptions, and sometimes my mood wouldn't come for 8 weeks. Now, I know this happens to anorexics because they don't eat, and then there's nothing to cause a rupture in their womb. But I was not anorexic. I ate my nice plate of prasadam in the nighttime. I even ate mahaprasad in the morning. It was not, and in fact, I'm 20 pounds lighter right now than I was when I was with the Krishnas. And I would have the holy breath in the middle of singing bhajan, and then no blood. And I'd be like on the beach alone praying, oh, little spirit, you want water? Because 20 years later, I stayed with these radicals who did nothing but farm wheatgrass, sunflower greens, and do pottery and art and music and homeschool their kids and just live to be alive for the day. So yeah, I don't want to mock anybody. Anyway, the greens are what take it out of your system. So if you want to know how to stop the poisoning, eat your greens. Okay? Drink your greens. Get your greens on a regular basis. We can flip this whole thing upside down. The government is in debt for however many millions of dollars in practically every country in the world. There are very few countries that are not in the hole. And if you want my personal opinion, I mean, how many French fries can a person eat? That is in the hole. What is all this starch in the body? Greens give us the minerals and the nutrients to give back to the world. I don't want to get up here on my soapbox and preach to you about how you should live. I don't want to say, no, don't move your jaw. Don't ever talk. Don't sing. Don't take a bite of food because my kid's going to get drugged if you do. You know what? Go ahead. If that's how you feel about it, feed her a frickin' hamburger because the red meat will absorb the poison. Mm-hmm. Kill a bovine, save your kid's chastity. I don't know. Those two industries are conspiring. Why do industries conspire? To profit? Jesus is our Savior. He honored the fish. Nowadays, food is so disposable that there's no excuse for eating animal flesh of any kind. Except that you don't know a recipe. I mean, what's wrong with peanut butter and jelly? Why do we have to just keep killing? As long as we keep killing animals to eat, then people just keep killing us to eat us. Because when all people are just animals, they're all just people that look like people, but they're actually different species of animals. So I'm here to talk to you. If you have dental fillings, if you have silver dental fillings, get them taken out. Because you're saying things and doing things that are freaking programmed into you by their program. Man, I wish they was just Timothy Leary. That just put it in their own head. The dentist would just put it in his own head. Don't put it in my head. Put it in your own head. And I'm sure you can probably watch me up on my soapbox and you're like, put it in your head. Quit ragging on the filling. The thing is, get it out of your head. I'm putting it in your head so you can take it out. I'm not putting a filling in your head. I'm putting the information in so you can take the filling out. Don't let it happen in the first place. Tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell your kids, tell kids at the park, tell everybody that you know. But don't just tell everybody to stop moving your jaw and don't say a word because as long as my jaw is moving, there's mercury coming into my brain because it'll seep out anyway. And the thing is, I don't have a problem with mercury as a substance. It's a naturally occurring substance. I mean, make it a legal drug for recreational use, but let people choose to use it. What we've got is people that don't even have a choice. Kids with Down syndrome go to the dentist, and if they need a dental filling, the dentist goes, you get a mercury filling or you get no filling at all. So pretty much they have no choice. But what's the biggest problem is that people aren't even informed about the consequences. Okay, I'll tell you the consequences. I started toxifying myself. I started toxifying myself. It was an aphrodisiac. I started becoming promiscuous. I was a virgin. I was completely chaste. I was became autistic. My grades went down. Immediate crash in my grades. I didn't take a disability check to keep silent. I didn't get paid off. I'm going to talk about this. Got autistic. Talking about playing music so much that my only roof over my head is a certain set of songs that I play every night and a certain number of dances and yoga sequences that I do every day. And that's my whole identity. And that's very beautiful and it's very magnificent. It's wonderful. But did I choose to take that path? Or was that my only way out of the dark road? That was my only way out of it. So this is the kisser, when I was 18 years old, I had a child, beautiful, um, beautiful boy who was born still because he couldn't breathe oxygen because his entire pregnancy was filled up with mercury vapor. And it took me until 5 years ago to find this out from reading a book called The Toxic Time Bomb and finding out that stillbirth and mercury fillings, not uncommon. His dad is so cool. We married. I thought maybe it was religious guilt that killed the child. We would not autopsy, and I'll tell you why we would not autopsy, because I believe in God and I manifest a God. A real, living, innocent, never sinned, pure, actual sacrificial lamb who they sacrificed so they could excavate me, so you could all have a little taste of my soul. So some people, you look around, you see people there in the hole. The government, I'm going to eat my potatoes, I'm going to sit and call the shots. And you're there in the hole. But I gave, honey.